Hi everyone, welcome to this week's Stencil Saturday video. This week I'm working with my dot and dash block stencil, but this time I wanted to do one using, so on the stencil there is the big block, and then there's this little section. I know it's going to be hard to see on the camera because where I have it, it's this. There's two squares, they're 5, it's 5 by 10. And if you mark that, as you can see I did in 2 times, so I marked it once and then flipped it and marked it again, you get a whole nother group of lines to use if you want to create a block. And last time we used the points, so this time I'm going to do something where we're just going to kind of stitch the actual lines on the stencil. We'll add some things too, but just because, you know, it's not always about trying to find something else within this stencil. You know, you can use just the lines that are actually there, or maybe you omit some. So what I'm going to do first is I just want to divide up these 4 squares. So I'm going to start, what did I think? I wanted to start up here at the top. I'm going to stitch down, travel along the edge, and then go over so that I'll be up in the top where I can start. And, you know, you could tie off each time, but for the sake of making it faster, I'm not going to do that. So I'm just start up here, and I also see that I didn't line them up very well, but that's okay. We'll just kind of split the difference of where they didn't line up so swell. So I'm going to stitch down. See, I'm coming up here, so I'm just going to kind of, fudge it there. And then I'll just travel along the outside. And then we'll do that center line going through here. Oh. And I like to do it this way. Sure, you could just start, you know, if you wanted to, wherever, and kind of fill in the whole thing. But I like to kind of get some main lines in first, because then I think it will keep you from getting any distortion or anything in your quilting. So what I want to do first is I'm going to start with this one, and I'm going to stitch these squares. I'm going to stitch all of them, all these lines in here. And we're going to use these kind of little lines so that we have a way to travel, you know, either out of here, or if I need to go up here, or if I need to go into the next square, I have those lines. So I'm going to go ahead and stitch the outside first. You know what, let me grab a smaller ruler here. I'm just going to try to travel through all of these first once, because then it kind of again stabilizes the whole block. And ideally I should be able to get back to where I started here. I think if I just do the outsides all at once. And you can use any path. This is just the way I'm going, and maybe it's not the best path, but I guess I'll see here shortly. But that's entirely up to you. I think we all think about that differently. Yeah, so now I'm going to go back on the inside. It did work. Okay, so now at this point, I think I'm just going to go ahead and finish. I'm going to go ahead and stitch all of this before I move to the next one. I don't think I need to do all of them at this point. So I'm going to come in. And then as I come to each of these corners, I'm going to go out and back. I'm actually going to, I guess I'll do it. Won't matter if I have. The same thing, I'm just going to work my way into the center. I actually am going to skip that corner because I'm going to, when I'm done with this one and ready to move on, I want to come over to here. So I'll wait and do that one last. Otherwise I'd end up with too many lines. Okay, so now that I'm done, we have this center open. You could do something in there or not. That's up to you. I'm actually thinking I might, only because it's going to allow me to travel over to here. No, I actually like the look of it open. So you know what? I am just going to backtrack here. Track here. And then stitch right over to this next one. Right in. Out and back. I'm going to do this one. Because this time, when I'm done with this one, I want to be able to go down here. So I'm going to not do these ones. I hope that makes sense. Again, I'm going to skip that one. So I'm just going to go up here. I'm going to backtrack down to here. And see, now I can stitch those ones to get to this one. So I'm going to go ahead and repeat that with each of these. And I will speed the video up so you don't have to watch it. Okay, now that those lines are stitched, now we're going to go ahead and do these lines. So what I'm going to do, so I'm going to stitch, I'm going to travel down in here, I'm going to backtrack in, I'm going to stitch this one, travel right into this one, and I'll be able to work my way the whole way around the block to complete that. going to continue working my way around the whole outside, and then when I get to once all of that is filled, I'm going to use one of the lines. I'll travel in and do all of these inside ones. And I mean, as you look at this design, this is going to be a really nice, even density, not quilted to death, just a nice, I mean, you could picture this in, if you had a nice open setting square or something on your quilt that you needed to fill. And you didn't want it, I don't think you always want everything stitched to death. But as we're going, if you did want more stitching, when we did the centers of these squares, you could easily have filled this, as well as these. So if let's say I wanted to put a fill in each of these little corner areas, because it would change it a lot. It would really make the kind of nested squares in the center stand out. At this point right here, I would go ahead and right now fill these, obviously, as I go, so I didn't have to come back and do it again before I went on to the next one. Let me think here. So I think at this point I'm going to go ahead into the center here and grab these ones. I think really the hardest part is just that backtracking. Oh. Sometimes you just have to go a little bit slow. Almost done here. I really love these kind of designs. I like to have, when we're done, it's going to look like these other squares are behind the other ones, and I really like that. The look of layers, depth to a design. Okay, and that completes all of our lines. So let's, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and get rid of the lines real quick, and then I'll be right back. Okay, so I got rid of most of the lines, but good enough that we can see it without the distraction of those lines. And I'm going to go ahead and turn this light off so we can at least get the shadows of it better. I mean, it's not quilted to death. And really, yes, you have to slow down a little bit because you're doing the ruler and there's some backtracking. But the ease of it, because those lines are already there for you, to me, is a huge bonus. And so what I meant, we have these squares here, but you also then can see these squares, the pattern that's behind it. So I think that you can easily imagine, had we filled in these little corners here, and maybe this as well, that this would be really standing out a lot and the depth would be even greater. So that's an option that you have. Or you could have, I don't know, maybe put a continuous curve design in here. That would work too. So I hope you guys like that. I'll turn this light back on. And I'll see you next week. Bye.